to be talking about anger. What it is, I guess, and what anger is, and why it is an unnecessary emotion in most situations. I want to preface this by saying that I am in no way and by no means an expert on anger or emotions. I'm not a psychologist or anthropologist or anything similar. I'm just a regular guy that would like to share my opinions with the internet. Don't we all? I don't mean to come across as arrogant in any way. I'm simply stating things from my point of view. And everything I say, I hope you will take as my opinion. And you do not take things too seriously. Anything that I say. I also wanted to point out that I am currently in my closet in my bedroom. There may be a little bit of background noise, but this is probably the quietest place for me to record. But my family is awake, so there may be some background noise. And you might, I hope the location is cozy and not too, I don't know, too cramped. Doesn't feel too bad for you guys. It may seem a little awkward for me to record these videos in my closet, but trust me, it's the best that I've got for now. I also hope you'll overlook this unsightly zit here. There's not much I can do about it. These happen sometimes, and I don't want to squeeze it because I don't want to score, and that often spreads my acne anyway. So, anyway, that's gross stuff. On to the hot topic of this video, which is anger. I first want to talk about what anger is. Anger is a very primitive and basic emotion. Anger is an act-react sort of thing. When you feel anger, you are pushed to act on impulse. Anger is not an emotion that makes you think. I mean, that's kind of what most emotions do. They make you feel so strongly that you act almost immediately. And anger is probably the strongest of emotions. Unfortunately, anger is all too prevalent in today's society, and all throughout history, really, and unbridled rage has led to a lot of misfortune in the past. So I think it's important that we all realize what anger is and when it is appropriate and how to control our anger. Anger is present in almost every creature, or similar reactions and emotions to anger are present in almost every creature on Earth. Even in, I guess, a somewhat primitive creature like crocodiles, for example. If you were to attack a crocodile, he would, without thinking, there is not much conscious cognitive process in an alligator's mind. But if you were to sneak behind one and grab him by the tail, he would instantly turn around and jump down on your unfortunate hands. And that is basically what anger is. It's that instant reaction. It's that there's no thought process behind it. And we need to realize that anger is as much an attack on us as it is on other people. When you feel anger, you are feeling your defense mechanisms activating. For example, if you stub your toe, there is no aggressor. There's not even really a victim. You are a victim of your own misfortune, your own misstep that caused your toe to strike that corner and caused you pain. But you instantly feel angry. Well, often you do. Even though there's nothing to be angry at, no one to be angry with. Anger is so irrational that, say for example, someone playing Xbox may get angry at the game and throw their controller even though there is nothing actively working against them. No one has attacked them. They feel as though they are being attacked, and they must react appropriately. But there are ways to avoid anger, and I think it's important to, because we can feel angry in many situations where someone does not intend to harm us, but we feel as though we've been attacked. For example, someone says something you disagree with. You instantly feel angry, even though to them what they've said is a good thing. To you it is not, and you instantly feel that heat, that pure sort of rising emotion that makes you act instantly. And you want to give them an angry response. And that is bad because it's not going to change anyone's mind. All it does is make you seem as though you're someone who is easily controlled by their emotions, which is nothing to be ashamed of. We all are obviously a product of our own emotions. Emotions are what make us do all of the things that we do. But when something good happens and we feel happy, that's a positive emotion. If you could classify emotions by positive and negative, then happiness would be a positive emotion. Anger would be a negative emotion, perhaps the most negative emotion. And you should avoid anger unless it's absolutely necessary. Let's say in a hypothetical situation, you have a child and they knock over a vase by accident. They have not caused you any harm on purpose, but if that vase is valuable to you, you may feel angry and you may want to punish them. But if you look at it from an outside perspective, then you will see that your anger in that situation is unnecessary, because your child already feels remorse. They've already realized that they've done something wrong. They made a mistake, and they already obviously feel terrible for it. Punishing them just reinforces the idea that mistakes are not okay and that accidents are unacceptable. Punishing a child for an accident shows that you are acting immediately on emotion rather than pausing, taking time to reflect on a situation and deciding the appropriate way to deal with things. For example, to approach the child, explain to them what they did wrong and why they shouldn't do that again, like say why they shouldn't run in the house, and explain to them why they shouldn't do it again, and have them help you clean up the mess so that they understand that actions have consequences. But anger is completely unnecessary in that situation. In the first scenario, where you get angry and you punish them, neither of you learn anything, neither of you feel good, and most importantly, your child doesn't learn anything. In the second scenario, all of those things are remedied. And I think that's a good example, because anytime you're feeling angry, and that's what I want to move on to now, is how to deal with your anger, is to realize every time you feel angry, I want you to stop and reflect on the situation and think, is my anger justified? Am I being attacked? And if am I feeling this for a reason? Should I respond in an angry fashion? Or should I find another way to work things out? If you are, for example, being physically assaulted, then anger is an appropriate response. But even if you're being, say, insulted by words, anger is not necessarily the best reaction. If someone says something mean to you, and you react by saying something mean back, now you're both caught in an infinite loop of insulting each other, and it goes nowhere. So if instead you were to come back with a reasoned and tempered response, you come out in any scenario like that, you come out as seeming rational and well composed and mature. And that's what anger is, a very immature sort of thing. And that's what I do. Anytime I feel angry for any reason, I have sort of meditated on my own anger. And I spend time conditioning myself so that every time I feel angry, I instantly reflect on the situation. I pause for a moment. Don't let words flow freely when you are angry. Don't let your emotion control you. Pause. Recognize that you are under the influence of anger. And take a moment to think, what is the best way to deal with this situation? Is it anger? 9 times out of 10, or even more often than that, anger is not the ideal or appropriate response in a situation. Because most of the time that someone makes you angry, they're not intending it. And they've just misstepped and accidentally triggered that primitive response, that self-defense mechanism that dates back to our ancient ancestors millions of years ago. And they've triggered that response. And that's unfortunate. But it's not an attack on you. It's not intentional. And that's very important that we all realize that. When we feel anger, don't take it out on the person who's making you feel angry, because it's not their fault. It's not something that you have to find. Nobody is at fault in that situation. You don't have to find someone to punish. Punishment is a rather unnecessary thing in almost every situation anyway. Besides direct malice, there is not many situations where anger is the appropriate response. I hope I'm not sounding redundant, because it's hard to continue on a topic without anything written out or planned. This is rather just a spur-of-the-moment thing. But anyway, I think that if everyone were to put more conscious effort into controlling our subconscious emotions, we could make a lot more changes in life. Too often we feel that because we are angry, we are justified in lashing out. If someone is angry, that's the first thing they do. They lash out in some way, shape, or form. And that is why we need to spread the idea and spread the concept of reflecting on your own emotions before you act on them. And this applies to all emotions. Take a moment, sit down if you have to. If you're extremely angry and you want to deal with the situation with a clear mind, maybe in a spousal argument, maybe you're arguing with your significant other and they've said something that makes you angry, I want you to sit down and think, why am I angry? What is making me angry? And what would be the appropriate response to such a thing? What response will have the best outcome? Don't try and think of a way to spite the person that made you angry, because chances are, even if they did intend to make you angry, it's not the best way to react to that situation. I hope you all understand what I'm saying. I don't seem like I'm rambling incoherently. Maybe I shouldn't try and speak on topics I know nothing about. I'm quite young and rather naive, I guess, so I hope you don't take everything I'm saying too seriously, but these are my opinions. But I think if everyone is to follow these guidelines, follow these simple steps, stop when you're angry, stop, reflect, and think about what the ideal response to this situation is. What would, for example, just imagine some fake ideal person, a perfect person, if you will, how would they react to this situation? Would they continue with anger? Would they shout obscenities and perhaps even assault the other person? Of course not. Because, as I said before, anger is all but unnecessary in the modern world, in modern society. And, yeah, that's about all I have to say on that topic, I think. Hope I didn't leave anything out. If you guys have any questions for me, or you want to hear my opinion on something, maybe you want to hear an entire video on a similar topic, you can request that below. I appreciate you all spending this time with me and listening to my thoughts and opinions. I hope that you found this relaxing and not too much like an uninformed lecture. And I want to thank you all so much for 300 subscribers, which is a milestone I recently reached, which is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. I know it doesn't sound like many, but having 300 subscribers when only a month ago I had under 100 is really astounding to me, and I appreciate all of your lovely messages and your comments and everything, and especially grateful for those of you who have went out of your way to send me messages on my social media, especially Tumblr and Instagram, where I am very active. And yeah, I guess that's all for now. I hope to be able to get out another video to you guys soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have the most wonderful of weeks. I really do. Goodbye and good night, children of the universe.